This kid has played a ton of ball. What I love is that he could play at guard. He could play at tackle. He, for me, projects a little bit more as a guard just because he is bigger, doesn't necessarily have the 6'5", 6'6" length that you would love to see of an offensive tackle. Welcome back for another edition of Portal Profiles. This time we're talking about the beef in the trenches that Kenny Dillingham and company went and got in the transfer portal, starting with former Oregon defensive tackle My'Keil Gardner, 6'2", 295. Maybe the best part about this kid, Eric, he's got a lot of eligibility, and he played his high school ball right here in Arizona.
I think before we talk on the field stuff, having somebody who went to a major program like Oregon and had so many offers, Oregon, Texas, Michigan, Iowa State, USC, UCLA coming out of college, even offered by ASU, coming out of college, coming back home, right? Coming back here, continuing that trend that we kind of mentioned before. With a few players coming back to Arizona, this is big, and especially big in the sense of 300 pounds big. And for Arizona State to continue to compete at the highest level, you need depth and you need big bodies in your depth. And I certainly think that he has the potential to be a rotational piece. And somebody whose max ceiling has not even come close to being hit.
Not even close.
And another one of these players, and we've mentioned it in almost all of these portal breakdowns, that you see the foundation, and now it's on Arizona State and it's on Brian Ward and their defensive line coach to get the most out of somebody who has a lot to tap into.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this kid for me, right, when you look at just the sheer size of him coming off of a season where, again, he didn't play too much, dealing with an unspecified injury, redshirted his freshman season with the Ducks. This is a kid that I think another year in the college system, and what I mean by the college system is meeting rooms, just going through the schematics of what a defense should be, a full nutrition program, a weight training program.
Things that Arizona State excels at.
What his body can look like going into the season, going into a couple seasons from now, should be really, really awesome to see, especially with a kid that could project as an interior defensive lineman. I feel like he projects a little bit more as a pass rusher coming off the edge. That's just my 2 cents on it. Just kind of the length that he has. He's 6'2", 295, but he does have a longer wingspan. He is a quicker guy. And when you talk about interior defensive linemen, like the guys that Arizona State has, and a Jacob Kangaika, a CJ Fight, it takes a lot for them to simply just, you're standing there, right? You're standing there shedding blocks. What I got from this kid watching the tape, obviously high school tape, is this kid wants to go. He wants to go. He wants to get the quarterback. He's got a little bit of a motor on him, right? He wants to run. He wants to go. I feel like that fits a little bit more as a defensive end, especially with an Arizona State team that maybe this year has guys like a Clayton Smith, a Prince Dorba, Elijah O'Neal. But when we're talking years down the line, he might be the kid.
You have to invest. He might play some this year, might be a rotational piece. He might be your starter in 2026.
Could be.
Right? And if Arizona State's going to continue to compete at the top of the Big 12 like they're planning on doing this season and for every season while Kenny Dillingham is here, which is hopefully a long time, you need to start planning for that, and that is where he comes into play. But he's not the only addition that they've gotten along the trenches, which is nice. Let's get multiple
real
slices
nice
and slabs of
real
beef
nice.
in here.
Look, I think the guy that you're probably going to see the most out of these bigger, quite literally physical, size-wise transfers that Arizona State has been able to get over the last few days is this guy right here, Texas State offensive line transfer, Jimeto Obigbo.
What a name.
He's a big boy, is what he is. Obigbo is a big boy, 6'4", 339 pounds. Eric, he's played a ton of college football, right? Played a ton this past season. The year before, he started all 13 games his first year at Texas State. 12 of his 13 starts were at right tackle. 1 was at right guard. Played over 1,000 snaps.
Wow.
Okay? This kid has played a ton of ball. What I love is that he could play at guard. He could play at tackle. He, for me, projects a little bit more as a guard just because he is bigger, doesn't necessarily have the 6'5", 6'6" length that you would love to see of an offensive tackle. And I believe this kid was teammates with Josh Atkins.
Oh, wow.
In high school. Josh Atkins, obviously the Arizona State left tackle. And again, he played at another school his freshman year, played in 8 games, splitting time at the guard spots. In high school, didn't give up a single sack.
Is that good?
Not his whole career.
So the experience part of this is awesome because there have been a lot of transfers and stuff that are not coming with a wealth of experience.
Correct.
So you bet on Arizona State to get the most out of their potential. this is the type of player that you come in on the offensive line, which you're returning a lot of players and was a cohesive unit, to add somebody who's going to very easily mentally fit in and know exactly what they need to do. And I mean, remember, Arizona State played Texas State earlier. Like, they had to see something out of this kid that was like, this guy can help us out tremendously. And as great as the offensive line did near the end of the Texas game, right, you can always use more big beef there, especially losing your best offensive lineman in Lee Fautanu. Adding anybody with this much experience, and Texas State was a good team last year, and he's been a good player for a long time now. So any offensive line help, I've always said this, if you're trying to build a winner, you have to build through the offensive line first. Offensive line first for me, then defensive line. And adding somebody there with this type of experience is going to be massive for Sam Leavitt, new running back one probably, and Kanye Udau, and we'll see what else happens. Yeah,
100%. Look, you got one offensive lineman with a ton of experience. You got another that has got a lot of potential. Nebraska offensive tackle Xander Ruggeroli, 6'6", 285 pounds, played in just one game while redshirting in 2024. But if you know the name Bishop Gorman, then you know this kid is a premier tackle, or at least has the potential to be a premier tackle. Obviously, at the high school ranks, this is a kid that just dominated the competition, right? At 6'6", he was so much bigger and stronger than everybody else he was going up against. Nebraska, we know those corn-fed offensive linemen, there's a ton of them, right? I think at Arizona State, similar to what we're talking about when we discuss Gardner, right? I'd love to see a full year in the nutrition program, a full year with Coach Joe, what his body can look like. I think, honestly, if he's going to start for this team at any point, I think he needs to put on at least 15, 20 pounds. He's got to be a 300-pounder if he's going to be 6'6", right? And I don't see you getting shorter anytime soon.
You know what? I would certainly hope not.
Could be a tackle for Arizona State. Down the line, again, I don't expect to see a ton of him this season. I think this is a guy that you look at immediately and you're like, okay, the potential of this kid is why we went out and why we got him.
Well, you mentioned looking ahead towards future seasons, right? This is an investment piece. If he plays this year, that'd be nice. If he plays this year, it's probably because something bad happened.
Something really, really bad.
Right? But you have somebody that you look forward and you say, if you're going to either protecting our next quarterback, right? Whoever comes in after Sam Leavitt, or if Sam does stick around longer than expected. Having somebody there with the size.
Don't tempt me with 2 more years of Sam.
With the size and the things that you can't teach, that is massively important for sustaining this slow bamboo growth that you're trying to get, that accelerated a bit over this year, but you're not trying to microwave a program, you're trying to bake it.
100%.
Right? And you got to keep adding these ingredients and stirring things in, and he's an ingredient for down the line.
Yeah, look, between all of the transfers that Arizona State was able to get, obviously the guys up front are, like you said, Eric, what's going to really help this team get to the next level, and that is winning games in the college football playoff. But as it stands right now, I'd say Kenny Dillingham, Marcus Arroyo, Brian Ward have done a phenomenal job adding through the transfer portal. And guess what, Eric?
What?
They may not be done.
Are they ever done?
Soon.
I don't think they're ever done. They're
Maybe.
Always going.
At some point.
Never.
At some point, they'll be done.
Never. I'm getting a call right now.
Well.
Where's my phone? I don't even know where it is.
Well, we'll discuss all the new transfers when they do arrive.
You want me to be a kicker? I got you, Kenny.
Oh, okay.
Another ad in the transfer portal. That's crazy.
Guess we'll have to do another portal profiles after this one. Guys, again, for all your Arizona State news and coverage and fun, PHNX Sun Devils.